about getting a car through salary sacrifice, or if you're thinking about setting up car salary sacrifice in your business, but you're worried about all the things that can go wrong, we've got you covered, because we are going to be talking through all the pitfalls, all the nightmare scenarios that you hear on the grapevine of everything that can go wrong and how you can avoid all those things. And you can do it so it's perfectly manageable and just runs perfectly smoothly. So just to introduce ourselves, we're from a business called Vehicle Consulting. We set up admin-free salary sacrifice within businesses in the UK, where you can get electric cars and hybrid cars as well. My name's Tom. I'm the head of marketing at Vehicle Consulting. I'm joined by Daniel, who I'm going to be introducing today. Daniel, could you tell us what you do within our business?
Yeah, I'm a senior account manager here, so I look after small to medium-sized businesses. So for their vehicle needs, predominantly salary sacrifice.
Perfect. So I'm going to be interviewing Daniel. Got a number of nightmare scenarios that we want to avoid with the salary sacrifice scheme. If you want to get started with salary sacrifice and you want to speak to Daniel, you can do that by scanning this QR code here, and you can book a call with Daniel. He will be able to talk you through how you can set it up within your business. So without further ado, Daniel, let's get into it. So the first thing that everyone worries about, the first pitfall from a director's or a managing director's point of view, is always what happens if an employee leaves the business. They get a car on salary sacrifice, they have it sign up for say 3 years, and then a year later they leave the business.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest barrier to companies when they think about, is this something that we can do as a benefit for our staff?
Mm-hmm.
The immediate thing is you do go through, well, what are the pitfalls of doing this?
Yep.
I can see all the benefits. Where's the negatives for it? And the first one that's going to get brought up by someone in finance or HR is going to be, what to do if that person leaves?
Yeah, because what they all think is they're going to be on the hook for the remainder of the contract.
So a standard contract hire for a vehicle, if you terminate the contract early, normally you've got to pay 50% of the remaining payments.
Okay.
So if we're talking about a nice electric car, and that car is £700 a month, say, and you've got 2 years left of that contract, your bill is £8,400.
Okay.
As a business.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to, as a business, you're not going to put yourself on the hook for that scenario of you got someone a car because it's what they wanted, they leave, so a year in, they resign, go off to work somewhere else, and you've got this car, and there's nowhere else to put it inside the business. It's just sat there. You're paying for it. There's nowhere to take the money back from anymore, or you can send it back. It's going to cost you £8,400. That's going to put you off doing the scheme.
Yes.
So, early termination protection.
Okay.
So, an absolutely vital component for a salary sacrifice scheme if you are offering it as a benefit to staff.
Would you say this is probably the most important element that a business owner or director needs to know about?
It's the thing that is talked about the most.
Okay, so tell us how it works.
I spend more time us going through early termination protection than quoting for vehicles, individual vehicles, because without it, the schemes just don't get put in place unless you have that protection.
Okay.
It's the number one barrier. So early termination protection, it's going to cover your member of staff resigning. It can cover you dismissing them. You can even get cover that includes if you have to make them redundant. There are different levels of cover that you can take out. You can decide to what extent you want to cover.
Okay.
There's a price for the more things you want to cover, as with any form of insurance, whether it be home insurance, your travel insurance, your gadget insurance. The more cover you want, it gets a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
But you can cover all these things.
So the different levels of cover, kind of like the more belt and braces type ones, cover more different ways in which an employee would leave a business.
Yeah, and we talk with the client about, well, what's your profile of turnover? You know, is this department that you're going to offer this to? Is this quite a high turnover department? Are these people who've been with you a year, 2, you're in a certain marketplace that has quite a lot of turnaround of staff? Or is this a team of 6 people you're offering it to who've been with you for 10 years and they're going to be with you until they retire because that's your business? You know, they're part of the family maybe in some instances. You can decide upon what of cover you want, and that's flexible. You've
Okay.
got that. We have the ability to tailor that to your needs.
Okay.
We're not a one size fits all. That's it. That's what it is. We have the capability here to produce you a cover level that meets your requirements.
Okay.
In a balanced way.
Would you say that is how vehicle consulting is different? Without coming to be too salesy, but people might be looking at other salary sacrifice providers and they want to know, is it the same for everyone? So is it? I mean,
and there's a lot of working parts inside salary sacrifice scheme. It is not literally so. It is not just a website. That I click on that car for that many miles and type in how old I am and my date.
Yeah.
How old I am and where I live. That's the price. Oh, that's simple to do.
There's quite a lot of moving parts.
It's not.
Isn't it?
There's a lot of stuff that's involved in this. Where we're different is that we are a leasing broker, so we are used to, when speaking with a customer about their needs for a vehicle, to going out and looking at this at an exact vehicle they've described us, alternatives, methods of funding. So we're used to going out and putting the work in to go and build the right thing for our clients.
Mm-hmm. So it's tailor made.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are not Amazon. You click on the button, press it, and it's been delivered tomorrow by Jeff.
Okay.
That's
okay.
not that's not what we are. So that is how we are different, I suppose.
So some salary sacrifice providers just have one option and that's it.
You get told it covers this.
Okay.
You pick your car off there.
Mm-hmm.
The car will get delivered. That's how much that is. And the rest of it, you're on your own.
Okay.
Any queries, any questions that you've got to them? No, it's on the website in the Think and Ask Questions. What? And you go, well, can you explain that? Sorry, that is what it is. Because they've just built a portal. All they've done is they've just built a front end of a website.
Yep.
They don't know. The person you might talk to might not have the faintest idea about how any of this works.
Yep. Okay. What about in terms of, changing the subject slightly, but so for an employer, this sounds great. What about from the point of view of an employee? I mean, are they going to want this, or is it just going to be extra cost?
So, you're at a company, you've worked there for a good amount of time, you get this staff benefit that's offered to you of effectively a cut price car.
Yep.
That covers all your insurance, your maintenance, everything's included in there. It's coming straight out your salary, therefore it's really, really cost effective for you. But then something happens in your life.
Yep.
And things do happen in our lives unexpectedly that are unforeseen, that are not things that we can. You might have a parent who becomes ill where you need to relocate to care for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Your other half may be the primary breadwinner in the family and they get a job, but it's 80 miles away and you've got to move.
Yep.
All manner of things can happen.
Yes.
And if you suddenly do need to leave that employment, you want to know that you can leave in good consciousness and goes, really sorry, but I'm having to leave the business. I've got the car needs to be returned. And that you're not dumping them in the rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
But also that you're not being told, well, you said 3 years for that car, so there's your bill for £8,400. You owe us that. That's what you said you were having. Therefore, you've got to pay us that.
So
no, this covers you for that.
Yeah. So you're much more likely for staff to actually use the scheme. And the whole point of it is that it's a benefit. You kind of want staff to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to do so.
It is not there for a year in, you go, actually, I want a different car. It's not for, just to be clear, it's not something you can go, we'll just tell them I've left. That's not how it works.
Okay, fair enough. What about the cost of this thing? I guess there's some kind of premium.
It's a percentage premium on the cost car. It's built in. So you're paying for the cover, but you're paying for it tax-free.
Who's paying for it, sorry?
The driver of the car is paying for the cover.
So it's the employee who pays
the employee is paying for it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so I mean, if you are a business owner thinking about getting salary sacrifice with whatever provider you go with, this is something you need to really drill down on. And
every salary sacrifice, every good salary sacrifice scheme is cost neutral to the business.
Yep.
So to employees who might see this, the schemes we do, your company is not financially better off by you taking a car. This is not a way of your employer rinsing you for a bit of your salary. This is not. That's not what it is. It's a staff benefit.
Yep.
That's cost neutral.
Yep. Okay. No worries. Right. So that's kind of employee leaving. We've got that covered. That's the big one, I would say. Next thing I want to talk about is how it affects a staff's pension. If they get a car through the scheme, does it affect their pension?
Yeah. I mean, a big comment we see on our videos lots of times where we talk about salary sacrifice. Yeah, but it messes up your pension.
Yeah,
right?
This is probably the thing that employees worry about. I mean, most of our comments on our videos are about this.
Well, they're either about electric cars will catch fire as you're driving along in them, or what happens to my pension.
Yes.
I've driven an electric car now for 18 months. It has never once spontaneously combusted.
That's good. Let's talk about pensions.
So, let's talk about pensions. So, yes, salary sacrifice can affect your pension because if your pension is done as just done as a percentage of your gross salary, in terms of you pay a fixed percentage in your gross salary, and your employer pays a fixed percentage of your gross salary. If the salary sacrifice for the car comes off first and then your pension is done, then yes, that will have affected your salary. Affected your pension because it's working on a percentage of a smaller number. There are lots of companies that go, no, we'll do the pension first. Once the pension deduction is made, then the salary sacrifice deduction for the car will be made.
Okay, so if you're an employee thinking about getting a car through the scheme, what would you ask your employer though?
So I'd ask your employer, at what point is my car deduction made? Is it post-pension or pre-pension?
And which is the better option?
You want it to come off after the pension deduction has been made because that way you've put the most into the pension, and so has your employer.
Right.
Some very conspiratorial people think that companies are trying to get you into the scheme because then they have to pay less into your pension. No company is going to go to the amount of it's going to go to the work involved in setting something up, this benefit, to try and save themselves 3% of 800 of
whatever the pension,
a little bit of pension.
Okay.
For it's just
okay.
And you'd save the money by putting cheaper toilet paper in.
Okay. Now let's just look at the situation of, say, it is in the scenario where you do lose out on your pension.
Yeah.
Is it still worth getting a car and salary sacrifice?
Yeah, because the amount of money you're saving, just get a private pension.
Yeah.
Just put 30, 50 quid a month of the savings you're making by getting your car tax-free.
Yeah.
Stick it in your private pension.
Is that what some of your clients do?
Absolutely.
Okay, no worries.
It's what I do.
Yeah.
So it's that is just, I've got some extra money because now my car I'm paying for before I paid income tax on it.
Yep.
So that money that I save, I can put into a private pension. It's a hell of a lot more than I'm losing on my work-based pension.
From the point of view of an employer who's thinking about setting up salary sacrifice, which way would you say that it is, better to set up for your employees and is going to get fewer headaches from your employees?
If you want to make the best possible scheme that encourages the most people to go into it, that you get the least gripe about, and you're really doing it as a staff benefit, take the pension out first, then make that deduction.
Okay.
Any payroll department worth its salt is more than able to process and deal with that. A couple of big companies I know, that's how they do it. They have basically a suite of benefits that are available to their staff. And the first benefit that's in there is their pension and the ability to pay more into what theirs is a very, very good pension scheme. And they have the ability for staff to elect to pay more into the pension than is for statutory minimum. In there, they do pension first, then it's car, then it's childcare vouchers, then it's cycle to work, then it's so.
Right. Got it on pension. Let's move on to the next kind of pitfall, which is, say, a business thinking, right, we're going to get salary sacrifice. The staff are going to love it. They go to a salary sacrifice provider, get it all set up. then the staff go online, have a look at all the prices, and the prices of the cars, I mean, they're a fortune. And so no one's going to get a car through the scheme because they're too expensive.
So sometimes there can be a bit of a false equivalence in terms of sometimes they go, oh, well, I'm not paying that much for my car now, but you might have bought a second-hand car for £8,000, having put a £3,000 deposit in, and you're comparing it to a brand new car. Remember that a salary sacrifice car is a brand new car. You've put no deposit. It covers all your maintenance, and it covers fully comprehensive insurance for you and for your domestic partner as well. So that's it. So first of all, it's important to really think about total cost and comparing eggs with eggs in there. But there are providers out there that the cars are not well priced.
Okay.
And they're not even close.
I mean, how do you know which ones are going to be expensive then?
You can do a little bit of your own maths on it.
Would you go out and to a number of providers and say, give me an example?
In the same way that you tender anything inside your business for a contract nowadays.
Okay.
If you're asking a business if you're asking a builder to come round and build your conservatory, you're going to want to know what materials he's using, but you're going to want to know how much it costs.
Okay, but generally speaking, are there different types of provider where some are more expensive than others?
Yeah, so you'll have ones that want to lump everything in and put as many add-ons in there as possible and tie you to their entire suite of absolutely everything, because then you're all covered with one nice rounded invoice and it's dead simple to do. Bloody expensive, and none of your staff sign up for the scheme. You've achieved nothing. You haven't provided a staff benefit. You've given someone in the HR department a task to go and do, which they've wasted a good amount of time setting up something that's totally not used.
And would you say that might be the big salary sacrifice providers out there?
Yeah.
What about in terms of the number of access to a number of finance providers?
So that's where price really is decided. So if you've ever been on to look at car leasing as a personal individual, you'll see that some cars are on really good deals suddenly, and you're like, wow, how come that Audi is currently the same price as the Skoda for the same effective car? And it's because one particular bank has done a deal with Audi and bought 500 of those cars in return for getting them for a discount price. So suddenly the Audi A3 is the same price as a Skoda Fabia. And you go, well, I'll get the Audi. Now, there's lots of different banking groups and they all do deals like this. We as a broker deal with all the different banking groups. We have access to all their special offers.
So we get loads of deals coming up all the time.
So we've always got deals around there. If you go with a scheme provider that's just one banking group that just basically does, right, so we're one finance partner, we get all our Audis from Audi, all our BMWs from BMW, it's just set, we get a set discount for it, set price all the time, fine. Any special deals? No, it's just set price.
Okay, so to avoid setting up a scheme and having it so it is the prices are too expensive, would you say look for a salary sacrifice provider who is a broker? And it's not a dirty word because they have access to deals.
As a business, you buy your insurance from an insurance broker.
They
go out and they find you the best deal. I've been away recently. When I looked at a hotel, I didn't go onto the official website of each hotel I went on Kayak and Trivago.
Okay.
And I got the best price for that particular hotel I wanted to stay in. It was a different price. I mean, you certainly adverts for Trivago, whatever it is. But they say it's the same hotel room, but for a different price. How is that? It's because the source of it. It's because how it's being done, how it's structured. We have access to lots of different options.
What about if someone out there is watching this thinking, right, well, I've got a salary sacrifice scheme set up and the prices are terrible.
Can I use the names of other... Is that all right in this to do that?
We'll probably avoid that, to be honest with you.
But okay, there are schemes out there that your company might already be set up with. That is not exclusive, that say that and they'll say, we aren't exclusive. You don't have to just use us.
Yeah.
Okay, contact us. I've just done a deal last few days. Right? We're 20% cheaper than this other company.
Yeah.
And they're going to have that other company on their portfolio they can look at that.
Yeah.
But they can contact me and they can get a price. And if I'm cheaper, they're going to use it.
So this company you're dealing with, they've already got a scheme set up with
a different company.
It's a big salary sacrifice provider. They're dead expensive, so they've got you, and they
saw one of our videos.
Yeah.
They thought, I wonder if this thing that I'm looking at would be cheaper with them.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to them. We are considerably cheaper than who they were offered with. They checked to verify that they get all the same stuff. They do.
Yep.
And they get a bit more assistance in some areas as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we're cheaper.
This whole thing is about saving money, isn't it? So you'd be daft not to.
The entire thing is based around saving money. If then price is not an important component, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's price. Let's move on to the next thing, which is how it affects an employee's tax code. If they get a car through the scheme, is your tax code affected?
So having a car through the scheme is basically having a company car.
Yeah.
So if you have a company car, you pay company car tax
Mm-hmm.
because you're using it for your own. It's your car, you're using it for your domestic purpose. Therefore, you owe company car tax. Electric car, lowest rate for company car tax, 2% benefit in kind.
Mm-hmm.
I won't really explain benefit in kind. We've done that before. We've got other videos you can go and see if you want to understand benefit in kind in that. So,
how does it affect the tax code?
The way that they take the tax for it is by adjusting your tax code.
Yep.
That's how the taxman knows what tax you have to pay on the car and how they're going to collect the tax is by adjusting your tax code. Your tax code is saying to the taxman and to your payroll department, how much money can you earn before you start paying tax? That's what your tax code means. 1257L as a tax code. You put a 0 on the end of that, becomes 12,570. That's your tax allowance.
Yep.
So on £12,570, you can earn per year without paying tax. So the way it says is it adjusts your tax code down so you start paying tax earlier.
Okay.
But when we do the numbers and we do the sums and we tell you the net salary sacrifice for your car will be this, we have factored in and worked out what it is going to be.
Yeah. So with full electric cars, it's usually not a very big change, is it? Because there's a low benefit in kind rate.
Yeah.
Because I think the pitfall here is that people get a car through salary sacrifice. They don't know the fact that their tax.
They don't know cars. They hear the word hybrid. They think that a hybrid means electric to some degree. They assume because they've been conditioned that we must get a hybrid car because it's environmentally friendly, but it must be environmentally friendly because it's hybrid.
Yep.
It'll be a low tax rate. They never go and check.
Yep.
No one in the HR department or buying department or anything goes and does the check because they've just heard the word hybrid and we don't really understand what it means. Therefore, let's not ask any questions. And then they get the thing from the taxman saying your tax code has changed.
Yeah.
And it just looks like numbers and you don't really understand what that means anyway.
Yeah.
Then your pay slip comes.
Yeah.
And you suddenly go, oh my God, that's several £100 less in my take home pay than I was expecting it to be.
Well, give us an example.
So we know of someone, not from ourselves, who believed that the Toyota RAV4 hybrid they were getting was a low tax vehicle.
Yeah, but it wasn't because they just put the word hybrid on the back, but it's not really hybrid.
Yeah, they were paying thousands of pounds a year in company car tax.
Okay, so
they were paying as much in company car tax as the car was costing the company to lease.
Okay, so this is the nightmare scenario that we want to avoid. So how do you avoid that then?
You don't go for a hybrid. You go for a plug-in hybrid.
Okay.
In order for the car to be tax efficient for you, for one of these schemes, the car needs to have an all-electric capacity, which means it needs to have a battery in it that's bigger than a bicycle dynamo. So the car needs to have the ability to charge up using an electric cable. You don't have to run it that way, but it needs to have one of those. So the benefit in kind rate of the car needs to be 12% or less. Otherwise, it isn't tax efficient.
Okay, so it works best for electric cars because they've got
Yes.
a very small benefit in kind. So
Yeah.
your tax code is only going to change a bit.
Yeah.
And on plug-in hybrids,
Yeah.
as long as they've got a
Still
low
works.
benefit in kind rate,
Yeah.
you'll
Up to
be
12%. Yeah.
it'll change a bit more your tax code,
Yes.
but it's nothing to worry about.
It changes a bit more, but the savings you're making in paying less income tax are going to far outweigh that. I mean, they won't be watching, so on that. Yesterday, one of my clients contacted me about the managing director's car. They currently drive a diesel Range Rover Sport. And I said to her, please tell me they leased that person. It's not for the company. They went, no, it's a company car. So I said, do they know what tax they pay? And she said to me, he probably doesn't know. And I said, right, I'm going to quote you for a replacement like for like and for a plug-in hybrid Range Rover Sport.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you the cost of the lease cost of the vehicle, like for like car, same spec model, same equipment on it, identical to what they drive now. One of them a diesel, one of them a plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
I'm going to show you how much it costs to lease the vehicles and what the taxation, the monthly company car tax for each of the vehicles is.
I'm waiting for the big reveal.
The diesel Range Rover Sport, he's paying over £1,000 a month in company car tax. That's not what the company's paying to lease the vehicle. That's how much extra income tax he's paying per month for having that car.
What was it?
The amount he's paying in tax is more than he could be going and leasing the car for himself.
Okay. So what was it on the hybrid then?
And the hybrid was an eighth.
Okay. So significantly less. Okay. So the moral of the story is
under £200 on the plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
Considerably north of 1,000.
Okay. So go for a hybrid with a low benefit in kind rate. If you're going for a hybrid, that is.
Speak to the person, myself, or whatever, and say, and go and check yourself. Go on my website. Go and look for what's the BIK rate for this car.
Yep.
It's essential.
And you want it to be as low as possible.
As low as anything over 12. You don't want that as your company car sat against you.
Okay, so that's all tax code changes. And also, don't panic if your tax code changes.
Getting a letter from the taxman saying your tax code has changed. You haven't been naughty, you haven't been fined. It's what automatically happens once a company car is allocated against you.
Okay, that's good to know. Right, let's move on to the next nightmare scenario, which is to do with excess mileage fees.
Yep.
We see comments on some of our videos saying I got a car through salary sacrifice, gave it back in the end, and I got a great big excess mileage fee at the end, which I had to pay in a lump sum.
Yeah.
Talk us through how that can happen and how we can avoid it.
So I discussed this the other day with a client of mine that I've just taken on board. He asked me to price up the car at 8,000 miles and at 10,000 miles for it. 8,000 miles was cheaper, obviously, because it's less miles. And he went, I'll go for that one and we'll try and make do. So I worked out both, and I said to him, this is the excess mileage charge on it. This is how much it will be. This is the equivalent. Anthony, go for the 10,000 miles a year, because if you do your 10,000 miles a year, which you probably will in your new car, this is your bill at the end. It equates to that amount of money that you have to pay in one go. Let's divide that by 36. It's twice as much you're actually going to pay than if you just paid it off monthly over the time. So, too many people just go, I'll put a low mileage in because it'll give me a cheap payment. You're going to have an excess mileage bill at the end. Now, that's going to be a great big lump sum that you're going to have to pay in one hit at the end of your car contract. Now, we want to mitigate that. We don't want people to get excess mileage bills. So what we can do, because we actually care about you once you're in the car, not just up to the point the car's delivered and then see you later, thanks a lot, I'm on to a next load of people, thank you. Not bothered, tough, just go do something else.
Okay.
We're going to check your car mileage. 6 months, a year.
Every 6 months.
Are you doing the mileage you thought you were going to be doing?
Yep.
After 6 months, you've done a bit more. We'll go, well, Is it the first time they've had a new car? They've done a bit more. Have they waited and planned to go and do a journey to go and see someone because they've got a new car now and they can go and do that?
Yeah.
And we'll have a look. If you get a year in and you're 5,000 miles a year over where you're going to be, we'll speak to you and we'll say, realistically, is this going to continue at this rate? Is this in fact representative of how many miles that you actually do? And if you go, yeah, it is. Right. Let's adjust this contract now.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine to drive over.
It's fine. Don't worry. We're not phoning up to go, you've been naughty, please stop driving. I know someone that genuinely stopped using their car because they didn't, because it had never been explained to them when they got the car. They thought they were not allowed to drive that car past that number of miles.
Okay.
They hadn't driven their car in 3 months.
Okay, well, we don't want to avoid that. So how do we do it?
It's appalling that no one explained it to them properly. So if you were doing a lot more miles, we would adjust your contract.
Yeah.
You'd have a bit bigger deduction out of your pay each month, but you're not going to have that bill at the end. So, and this is addressed to the drivers. To the employer, we're insulating you there from the potential of someone comes in, found their contract, throws you the keys along with a letter of resignation and tells you that they're off to work for your biggest rival starting tomorrow.
And they've driven way over their mileage.
And you've got 10,000 miles of excess mileage bill to pay, and it's going to be 1,800 quid. Okay, so we're going to monitor that for you, and we're going to make sure that if you're doing a lot more miles, we're going to adjust the contract, and you're going to pay a bit more per month for the car, but you're not going to have that bill at the end.
Doesn't it work the opposite way as well if you've driven significantly under the mileage that you plan to do?
Absolutely. There is no bonus rebate you get back for handing a car back with 10,000 miles less on the clock than the finance company thought they would.
So the sensible thing to do is reduce it.
We've got a big fleet client as a company that we did this exercise for a while back. We went through all their vehicles that they'd got and said, let's have a look. And they had a lot of vehicles that had done a lot less miles. Now, there were some people, at times it was because there's a lot more working from home.
Yep.
Sometimes you might pick up a contract that finishes sooner. You might get a load of vans to satisfy a contract. You think you're going to be doing all this, and it turns out you haven't done as much.
Yep.
So we do this as a matter of course. This is part of what we do with clients because we care about the customer beyond the car arriving on your drive.
So what happened in that situation then?
We had those contracts rewritten, and they're paying less per month in total for their fleet of it.
But it was tens of thousands of pounds.
It was a lot of money.
Okay, perfect.
A substantial change that's a direct into their P&L.
Okay, so the way we're going to avoid these great big lump sum excess mileage fees, no one wants that, the business or the employee. The way we do it is check every 6 months, and we can adjust it mid-life. I believe that's what the lingo is. And then the chances of being a large fee at the end is minimised.
Our customer service department here, it doesn't exist to field off the screaming, shouting text on the phone. It's actually to give a good service to the customer. It's not preventing you speaking to the person that sold you the car. There are too many customer service departments. Their purpose is to avoid accountability. Ours is to actually help.
Okay, right. That's excess mileage fees. Let's move on to the next scenario which people worry about, which is at the end of your contract, you hand it back and you get a great big bill for damage.
Yes. So you are expected to look after the car in a suitable way.
Yep.
So you are not expected to hand it back like it drove out the showroom.
Yep.
It's called fair wear and tear. Fair wear and tear. I always say take a common sense view on this. Okay. So if you're going to give a car back at the end of 3 years, fair wear and tear, give it back in the condition that if you went to a car dealership and bought a 3-year-old car, you'd expect it to be in that condition. Would you expect it to have a big dent in the back where you've reversed it into a lamppost? No, absolutely not.
Okay.
You wouldn't do that. You'd go and get that fixed. Scuffed alloy wheels because you've taken up a curb. Yep. Well, you shouldn't be driving up curbs.
Okay, well...
Okay, so...
We all know accidents happen, though.
Yes.
So what if you do have, you do reverse into a bollard or something?
Then you go and get it repaired. Because it's cheaper to go and get these little cosmetic things done yourself
Yep.
and expecting to hand it back to a company who are then going to say, right, for us to fix it requires the cost of the work plus someone to take it there, someone to go and collect it, and to do all the administration for that. They're going to charge you for their time. Go and get it done yourself. From a company standpoint, you don't want your employees coming back with cars looking like they've been attacked by a gang of people with a baseball bat. Your employees, you're doing them the favour in helping them with the car. They should treat the car with a degree of respect. Use it, yes, but treat it with respect as well, because the bill's going to land on the employer.
Yep.
So we'd always suggest that you have written in the agreement that the driver is liable for those charges. Now, what we have here is we have a customer service manager who, if the de-hire damages are unfair, are unreasonable, a bank is taking the mick in this. We've got a guy who comes and fights your cause.
Yeah. I hear him on the phone, and he does. He takes
them to pieces. He will get stuff that you should be paying for damage. Suddenly, okay, we won't deal with that. Okay, that's part of the service that you get from us. Now, okay, he's not Houdini. Okay, if you literally have treated this car like a rally stock car, okay, you're gonna get a bill. Okay, you can't work miracles, but you should only pay for fares. What fare? As you say, accidents do happen. I know someone who a tree fell on the bonnet of their car. That's not their fault.
Nope.
It was a storm. A tree fell out. It's a big dent in the bonnet. Okay, that's not misuse. But if you do park in a sense of you like to park up on the curb at speed outside your local off license and you smash the alloys to pieces, that's on you, isn't it? I mean, I think we all accept that.
Okay.
But work with a company that's going to make sure it's fair.
Yep.
And someone that's going to help you at the end. And someone that's going to say, at the point that you are looking to return your car, and it is coming back, someone who can guide you through and say, right, these are the things to look at. Go and check this.
Okay. What's
take the car to this place, have them have a look at it, explain this, say this word for word to the guy at Chips Away, tell him it's a lease car, it's going back, and they'll sort it for you.
Is that what vehicle consulting
That's what
does?
We have put in place, a total life.
What point do you get in contact with the driver then to sort all that out?
About a month before the car's due back, we're going to start talking through. Right, the car's going back in a month.
Yep.
Okay. You don't. If you've damaged the alloys 6 months in, okay, and it's not. I mean, and cosmetically, you can bear looking at it. Okay, don't go and get them all reground now, and then go and damage them again in 6 months for 6 months' time.
Yeah. Okay.
A month before the car's going back.
Okay, that makes sense.
Go and get those bits picked up, and then drive with a little bit more care.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Right, let's move on to the next kind of nightmare scenario. This is a slightly complicated one. It seems to be one that only we car people or you car people know about.
Yeah.
It's something called accelerated payments. There are a number of reasons why this can be a problem. Can you just, to start with, explain to us what accelerated payments are?
Right. So, I suppose in effect, what they're doing is they're taking a deposit over a few months.
Sorry, who is?
The finance house.
Yeah.
So, accelerated payments means the first few payments you make on the car are a lot bigger than they are for the rest of the contract. So, month one, big chunk comes out. Month two, bit less. Month three, a bit less. Month four, a bit less. Month five, a bit less. Month six, to a normal number it's going to be.
Yep.
But month one's number could be substantial.
Yeah.
Could be, for some people, that number is a lot bigger than I was expecting, to the point my other direct debits and my food bill, hang on.
Yeah.
This is a problem. This is a genuine factual problem. I have a client who said to me they didn't go with another company because they got a quote for the car. It said a figure at the bottom. They were all good to go. They then got the schedule, and that schedule was not 36 equal amounts.
Okay. So
it was big amount, bit smaller, normal amount.
Okay. So what you want it to be, it makes complete sense to me. You want the payment to be the same every month for the entire length of the contract.
It's a deduction from your salary for a fixed item for a period of 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
you aren't getting something more special in the first 6 months.
Yeah.
You're getting the same thing for 3 years. It should be 36 equal payments.
But the problem is that there is one particular salary sacrifice company who does exactly this, isn't there?
Because I think it's the way that they have to build in the insurance element.
Okay.
And I think it's the fact that they don't have a way of rolling them up to spread across the 36 months.
Mm-hmm.
They're having to pay for them as a company at initiation.
Yep.
So they're having to grab back that money very quickly at the start.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you've described the clear problem with this, which is your first payment could leave you financially knackered, basically.
The number I saw, if that came out of my household budget,
yep,
got wife and 3 kids,
yep,
the mortgage and all the rest of the things, have a budget that I run to for a month, like an awful lot of us.
Yeah.
If you suddenly chop a big chunk of extra cost into that month that you're not expecting, that is a problem.
Well, the other thing kind of linked to that is, I mean, there are going to be situations, if you've got this accelerated payments, some employees are going to sign up to it. They see the average price, which they think is going to be every month. And then
if you're an employer
yeah,
and they've not read it properly,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they get their pay slip and it's
1,800 quid, which is what happened with one person who commented on our video.
Then that employee is knocking on the door of HR going,
mental.
Well, they're going to be angry at first.
Yeah.
They're then going to be very, very stressed and upset.
Yeah.
Because they might have a problem with their personal finances, and that's going to affect their work. Now, why would you ruin the whole experience of a new car and this new great benefit that you've brought in for your members of staff that then upsets them greatly? I guarantee once that person has finished telling everyone else about it, no one's going to get a car. You might well have not bothered.
Yep.
You've got nothing but grief. And chances are that person's going, do you know what? Just come take it back. Take it back. Take it back.
Exactly. Okay. And there is one more problem for payroll.
Oh, what an absolute nightmare to work at that one. Now, I can't speak exactly how that's done, but I think almost at that particular company that does that, I think it must be. I mean, it just must be horrific.
Well,
for the payroll person
for payroll,
to try and administer that, they would have to be going right. So for this month, I have to remember to do this for this person, and then next month, it's changed again. It's a different amount.
Every single
you want to put in one deduction and go, it's that amount that we reduce for the next 36 months.
Exactly.
Payroll people, account staff, admin staff, payroll staff, they have enough to do. They aren't sitting there twiddling their thumbs, regardless of what us salespeople might think of them. They don't sit there for 20 days of the month going like that, and then, payroll's coming, 3 days, we're really busy for that. Back to that, shall we?
Yeah, but I mean, on a serious note, what they would potentially have to do if they've got this accelerated payment is for every single employee who gets a car through this scheme, every month for the next 36 months, they've got to do a different deduction.
Oh, it'd be horrible.
For every single employee.
It'd be. I don't know why you would. Certainly, if someone from your payroll department was involved in the selection process and saw that, they'd go, shall we not go with that?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
So, because that's a nightmare.
So this accelerated payment is a kind of bit thing that no one really talks about other than us, but it's quite a big problem, I would say.
I think it's a bit mental.
How do you avoid it then?
Just don't go with a scheme that isn't 36-day payment.
Okay, so just avoid, if they got accelerated payments.
To me, it's avoid. It's any company company that's saying to you, I need most of my money up front.
Alarm bells.
Yeah, if they're not tarmacking your driver, eh?
Daniel. Okay, we'll move on from that one. Okay, next nightmare scenario is what a lot of companies perceive salary sacrifice to be is just a load of effort and management and admin is it going to be a nightmare to set up and run the scheme?
No, you want to do your proper due diligence in setting it up.
Yep.
You want to make sure you set it up properly. You want to make sure that you ask the right questions and you get the right answers. And you want to make sure that all the work you do initially is constructive and that you build the right scheme in the right way, that then it runs like a dream.
Okay.
And you almost want to have the lightest of possible touches. And you
Yep.
want to go, we're not a car company, that's
Yep.
what's important. We're providing a staff benefit. If this was private healthcare,
Mhm.
the HR department isn't booking your dentist appointment. It's Bupa who's going to do that. That's the phone number.
Mhm.
We're the same. What we say is, use your company, engage us to run this scheme for you, to offer it as a benefit, and let us deal with your stuff.
I would also say that a really, really key part is educating the staff on basically everything that we've just been through that can go wrong, so that your staff aren't panicking about it. There's all these nightmare scenarios which can happen, which you can easily avoid.
So we have literature, we do instructional videos.
Okay.
We constantly hear new things, new questions. So we answer those questions. I know that you've been working on doing some videos with some of our clients.
Yep.
For what's the query? Here's the answer.
Yes. Well, let's not toot our own horn too much, but would you say that it is maybe sensible to ask, if you're a business looking for a salary sacrifice provider, ask them how they're going to educate your staff on how it works, so you can avoid all of these problems?
If you're a finance manager, HR manager, payroll manager, benefits, sustainability, or something like this, do you want to have to learn all the intricate details of salary sacrifice and electric and plug-in hybrid cars as that person, and to be the overall contact in your company for all things to do with it?
Yep.
Or do you want to go, why don't we get them to speak to people who do this for a living?
It's usually HR that gets dropped in the lap of as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So HR folks out there, make sure you choose one who educates your staff, and basically you can outsource it to, is what I would say.
I learn stuff every day about cars.
Yep.
Because it's constantly changing and how things and stuff. But this is what I do for a living, all day, every day, all the time, even on weekends. So yeah, it's we've got this wealth of experience. Let us help.
Okay. Final problem, or not necessarily a nightmare scenario, but not ideal. You set up the salary sacrifice scheme with all good intention as a business, but no one actually uses it.
Yeah, it's so.
How could that happen?
Oh, that does happen.
Is it? It's often. Well, it's the price is often the big factor of it, isn't it?
Price, lack of education. It's not explained.
Yeah, not having early termination protection.
One person had one bad experience at the start.
Yeah.
Has put everybody else off because it's gone out and has bagged it to all the
That's
colleagues.
probably
one of those.
Isn't it?
Okay, that happens. Price is the main thing. Someone goes, great, we've got a scheme. I'll go and get my car. Go on. What? Like that. They probably haven't added up the cost of the insurance and the maintenance and the fact they've got no deposit and compared to the wrong thing. But no one's sat and explained it with them. No one's had a conversation with them. No one's talked it through. No one's got them to say, well, how much are you paying now for your car? How much are you paying now for your insurance? And once I sit down with a lot of drivers, a lot of companies, and I go, right, okay, so you're paying X amount now for your car. Did you put a deposit into that? Yeah, we did £5,000. Right, let's split that £5,000 out across 3 years, shall we? Okay, so that £5,000 over 3 years, so what's that? Well, that's £130 a month, isn't it? That you've put in. This has got no deposit. So let's add in 130 to what you're paying now. Right, what you're paying in insurance. Right, what was your service bill last time? Have you had any tyres in the last 2 years? Yeah, I had 4 tyres. It came to 450 quid. Yep. Okay, let's factor that. Let's add all those up, see what your cost is. Unless someone's going to sit down and actually go through that with your member of staff, they're not going to know how to work all these things out.
Yeah.
We will sit down, go through it, we'll answer any questions. They might have seen one electric car that they like and not know about the existence of 3 others that are virtually identical, they've got great offers on them that are £250 less.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of no one actually getting a car through the scheme, I think that there's, from what I've gathered from social media, us doing a load of videos on there and the comments we get, there's a lot of worry about and skepticism about it. People are a bit iffy about
If
it,
you've
aren't
never
they?
done it before, so if it's something that you've never done before,
Mm,
you're really worried about electric cars, how's that going to work, like
mm,
that. You need a bit of reassurance and a
mm,
bit of confidence, but you need to be able to ask questions, and you need to be able to ask the questions that you want to ask,
mhm.
and be given the answers in the way that you want to be given the answer. Not like a politician that is going to give you the answer to the question that he wants you to have asked,
Mhm.
but to actually answer the question that you've got to ask, to lay your mind, any fears at rest
Yep.
that you might have. Well, how would this work? I have to do this journey once a year. How am I going to do that?
Yep.
Speak to us. This is what we're experts in. We're not going to just try and sell to you.
Yep.
If I speak to a driver, an electric car is not for them. It just doesn't work for whatever reason. Maybe they say to me about their personal finances, means that I would say, I don't think this is for you.
Yep.
I will never steer someone towards a vehicle if in my heart I don't believe it's right.
Fair. Okay. What about if a company, a salary sacrifice provider, has said, right, you're interested in salary sacrifice? Great, we can get it set up in 2 days for you, and you're away. Do you think anyone's going to use it in that case?
It's how have they done a proper assessment of how it's going to work for your staff?
Hmm. Or educate your staff?
Yeah, all they've done there is they've gone, sign up with us, sign up with us, sign up with us. Let me get your details. Let me do some data harvesting and capture for you. They've not assessed with you how you're going to operate the scheme, the scope of your scheme, which staff members are going to be.
Hmm.
Does it work? Are you going to do anything ancillary, like put electrical charging points in at work? If they've had none of these questions and had none of these conversations with you, they've rushed you through a process saying we're really quick and we can do it really speedily.
Hmm.
Yeah, and badly.
Yeah. So haste isn't necessarily the right route to go down if you're looking to set it up with new business, would you say?
No, you're asking people to sign up for the same car for 3 years.
Yep.
Okay. If you're flying into an airport and need a hire car for 2 days, okay, perfect. Yeah, we can get you one sorted as soon as you arrive.
Yeah.
If you're going to be same as in an overnight hotel. If it's somewhere to live for the next 5 years, for the next 3 years, you spend a little bit more time picking the right location and the right thing. It's the same with picking this. You're asking people to make a big commitment.
Yeah. It's a thing that people are wary of as well.
There's a balance in time between too quick and not done properly and dragging out forever and never getting sorted.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. Well, I think that's everything on my list. Is there anything that you can think of that I've missed off?
In terms of what kind of worries that people have,
Yeah.
so I tend to find the worries that companies have is that expectation on what happens if that early termination protection is it's such a thing whereby they want to know that they've got the protection for those scenarios. And we run through it, and as I say, we have best poke levels of cover, so you can cover for as much as you need to in there. Everyone has a degree of risk that they're comfortable with. The other side to that as well, when we talk about early termination protection, if you're an employer and the owner of the business wants to get their car, but they go, well, I ain't leaving anyway. I don't want to pay for that insurance.
Yep.
We can do it. Don't worry about it. If you go, well, I don't want to pay for that cover. I don't want something rolled in that I'm paying an extra premium for. It's my business. If I leave, the business goes. Don't worry about that. We can make that happen for you. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
No
So we don't bundle things in unnecessarily and just stick cost in unnecessarily. We'll analyze it on a case by case basis.
Okay. No
for
worries.
that. From drivers, if you can get past the fear of an electric car, I think that's still most people's biggest concern is, but once a year I drive to Cornwall.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
To be fair, like through our scheme, you can get hybrids as well, depending on if your employer allows it.
But I would say to someone, go to a car garage and try and get a 24-hour test drive, or hire an electric car for a day, and just see what if it works for you, and you'll be impressed.
They're pretty fun.
You had one and you didn't crash it into a sea.
I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. So.
Okay, right. Well, I think that is about everything in terms of worries, pitfalls, all that kind of thing. I hope we've covered it for you. If you have any questions, comment them and we will reply to you, whether you're watching this live or the recorded version. If you want to speak to Daniel directly, as I said, you can scan this QR code and book a call with Daniel, and you can get salary sacrifice set up in your business. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Daniel. Yes. And we hope you have a great afternoon.